The statistics when it comes to cyberbullying is getting worse, not better. Last year when I was here, I told you 7% of kids who are cyberbullied may kill themselves. This year is up to 10%. Last year when I was here, I told you that suicide was the second leading cause of death among kids in Indiana. This year, the new statistic is that every 5 days, one kid under the age of 13 will kill themselves. We got to get better. We can't afford to lose that many people. We don't know if we lost somebody who's going to figure out a cure for cancer, who's going to figure out how to colonize Mars, or who's just going to be a really cool person. And the kids are not dying because of something I'm doing. The kids are dying because of stuff you guys are doing. Before I came here today, like I do with most schools, I go to a couple of sites where kids rate their schools. And I found out your school was rated as a bully school. You guys gotta get better. You don't have the right to treat people that way. Before I start, I'm gonna give you some, you know when you point out somebody, you probably shouldn't. Because either A, you're not paying attention, or B, you're not taking it seriously, and I do. So I'm going to give you some quick tips on if you're being bullied, because today's talk is going to stem almost entirely on one topic, and it's not, unfortunately, cyberbullying. So here's tips for those of you who feel you are being bullied. Don't point out the person in a crowded room. That's not how you deal with it. What you do is this. When you receive a message or photo or anything else that is hurtful and mean, do not respond to it. When you receive that information, take a screenshot and save it as evidence. That is your proof that that person is doing what you say they are doing. When that person sends you messages that are cruel and mean, block them. You don't have to take it. You don't have to let them in your world. When that happens, report it to the website or app, because every single game, website, and app have rules that state that bullying will not be tolerated, and they will kick them off of the internet. After you report it to the website or app, please make sure you are letting your parents know, because if the person does not get the message and comes back, your parents can take legal proceedings and file a restraining order against them. Also report it to your school, because according to the state of Indiana, if someone's online behavior causes hostility, fights, or disrupts the school day, the school can suspend them, expel them, and report them to law enforcement as a delinquent. For those of you who are choosing to be a bully online, you are risking going to jail. It's illegal. Stop it. For those of you who are seeing it happen, we need to make this world a better place, and one way you can do it is by reporting the bullying. Don't join in and add to it. Don't retweet, repost, comment, thumbs up, smiley face. That makes it worse. Block the person. Save the evidence. Report it to the app or game. Don't let that be who you are. Because right now, online, that's who the school is. It's a bully school. The rest of you gonna take your school back? Or you gonna let it stay that way? So my talk this year is a little different, because since I left you last time, I have personally been involved in some very serious situations that involve kids being hurt by people they met online. In one case, I got really mad because I spent 3 days at the school talking to every kid, doing parent talks, and then within a few months of me being there, a video surfaced on Facebook of a young girl being molested by somebody she met online. It was all over CNN. What, they didn't listen? She did everything I told her not to do. She was on Kick. She trusted the person online was who he said he was. She agreed to meet him in the real world. She got hurt. I did my job. Your job is to listen. Since the last time I was here, I had a situation come up where I postponed going to a school because I really just didn't have time. My schedule is so booked. And now I regret it because that young girl became a victim of human trafficking. And my thought to myself is, if I would have gone to that school, if I would have done my presentation, would she have made better choices? So I'm asking you to listen and make better choices so that you don't become another one of my cases like this.
Parents in Lake County, Indiana are relieved to have their 14-year-old daughter found safe. She was in a Claremont County apartment with 2 men who are in jail right now on sex charges. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kemi Dierke.
I'm Rob Braun. The 8th grader went missing Thursday night from her home near Chicago. Investigators got a number of tips and used social media to track her to a man in Kansas and then to 2 other men in Claremont County.
Local 12's Megan Mangello joins us now with more on where she was found. Megan?
Kimmy and Rob, the girl was only 14. Investigators in Lake County, Indiana say a 21-year-old man from Kansas picked her up at her home at 11 p.m. on Thursday night. She had met him in an online chat room, and at some point he dropped her off at an apartment in Union Township.
There were hugs and smiles from the family of the 14-year-old girl who went missing from Lake County, Indiana. The 8th grader ended up over 340 miles away at these apartments in Union Township. On Tuesday, federal and local agents busted in and found her safe.
At the time, she was kind of confused, looked a little scared. She was transported to a hospital at the recommendation of the FBI, and they checked her out, did a medical evaluation on her.
Detective Ken Mullis said these 2 men were with her inside. Eric Ho is charged with rape, and Brian Otero is charged with complicity to rape.
She was an 8th grader at Grimmer Middle School. My schedule to go there was 2 days after she was returned. I couldn't get to them any sooner. My schedule right now is booked until April. I can't get to every school that I have to in the state. There are only 2 of us doing this. So when we come to a school, we ask you to listen, because I don't want another fail. She was an honor student, she was popular, she was friendly, she was well-liked. She lived in a small community outside of Maryville. Her family loved her. Don't know why she chose to go on Kick, which I warned you guys about last year, and meet someone. Don't know why when she got on Kick, she believed that the person was who he said he was. He convinced her he was another teenager and that he cared about her. What she didn't realize that he was a grown person, 21 is grown, and every comment, picture, and thing she shared, he was advertising to sell her. Told you last year, people can be whoever they want to online. You need to be careful. Told you last year, Kick can be dangerous. Please listen. In her particular case, we were able to get her back in 4 days because we used her online activity to trace the guy that she met to Kansas. Because see, what he did was he picked her up in Indiana and drove her to these people in Ohio and left her there, because he was actually trying to get enough money to move to Kansas. And how did he fund that trip? By selling her. When they weren't molesting her, they stored her in a box. She's 14, 8th grade. There's nothing we can do to make those 4 days go away. She has to live with the consequences of her choices, the choices she made when she was online. Are you guys making good choices? You have massive choices online. There's so many things you could be doing with your time online that does not involve cyberbullying or sexting. My son is an artist, and we were doing some research online, and we found a ton of sites where he could take his artwork, submit it to them, and they will make either toys out of it and sell it for him, and then give him the profit in a PayPal account, t-shirts out of it and sell it for him and give him the profit in a PayPal account. Doesn't that make more sense than cyberbullying someone, than sexting? At that rate, at 10 years old, he will have enough money to pay for college, even if he only sold a few a month. There's sites where you can go and learn how to code. I love coding. I'm such a geek. I love doing 3D coding. I love playing games, but I do it safely. I don't need to talk about my life to everybody I play a game with. That's not why I'm on the game. I'm on the game to have fun. They don't need to know what school I go to, how old I am, whether I'm a boy or a girl. I can still play the game and not put myself at risk. I can still use Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook, and I don't have to tell people where I'm at. I don't have to post inappropriate pictures, and I don't have to invite strangers who are not who they say they are into my world. Because all of that is a choice. You guys need to think about your choices. I've told you before, your online world is a part of who you will be 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. Your choices are important. So we talked about social media, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I've talked to you about cyberbullying. The bulk of my talk today is going to be about this topic, sexting. In law enforcement, we have come to the conclusion that if we could get kids to stop sexting, we would cut our caseload by at least 70%. Isn't that crazy? 70% of our cases would practically go away. Number one, it would make it harder for predators to have victims. Simple as that. We currently have a predator who's not that far from here that we arrested that had 2 terabytes of images of kids in inappropriate attire. Where did he get 2 terabytes? Wait, real quick. For those of you who don't know what a terabyte is, my laptop is a half a terabyte. He didn't have a laptop because part of that memory is taken up by applications and software. He had a hard drive, and there was nothing on there but pictures of kids. That's a massive amount of images. Some of the pictures he got just by surfing the internet because there's so many pictures out there. You use your device to send it, it's saved, it's stored, it's in the cloud, it's on memory and hard drive all over the place. You put it out there, it can be found. Some of the stuff he got by fooling kids, convincing them he was someone he wasn't. Some of the stuff he got from kids who he didn't have to fool. They're risk takers, they want to take a chance. They thought it was funny, they were just flirting, it was no big deal, everybody's doing it. So they sent out these images to a predator. And some of the image he got by trading and sharing images with other predators, because predators have friends too. He has 2 terabytes of pictures. And here's the thing, he has boys and girls. He didn't have a particular preference. So any kid in this room could be a victim of a predator. You need to remember that. Bad choices have consequences. So let's talk about some true stuff. Some things that maybe I need to remind you about. Some of this stuff is common sense, but maybe you just need to hear it so that you can remember it. Studies say you have to hear something like, I don't know, something like 30, 40, 50 times before it sticks. I don't want to have to come here 30 times. I hope the next time your counselor calls and says, hey, can you come here, is to tell me that you're no longer listed as a bully school and he's not having any more problems. just for me to come and congratulate you guys. That would be cool. So let's talk about what you're doing online. I made this slide, and I think I might have showed something similar to this last year. And my son this summer, he's 10 now, he pointed out to me that this is the dumbest slide I have ever made. I was like, Isaiah, why don't you tell me how you really feel about mommy's work? And he said, no, mommy, think about this. It says, what does your digital footprint look like? Well, this summer we went to the beach and I left footprints on the sand. They're not still there. And I realized where he was going with this. He says, last winter when I played in the snow, I left footprints all over the backyard. They're not there. I said, okay, you're right. He said, you remember when you got mad at me because I tracked mud in the house? I said, yeah. He said, those footprints were easy to clean up. He says, Mom, that's not my footprint online. When I post a photo, that's still there. When I send a message, that's still there. If I do a search, that's still there. I know because you go through my history and tell me what I was looking at, so I know it's being saved. I said, well, Isaiah, what do you think this should be? He said, it's more like a universe, Mom. It's all of who you are online. I was like, that's kind of cool. I said, but what about one post, one tweet, one photo? He says, each one of those is a tattoo. It's a permanent marking that you leave online. When you get a tattoo, don't you think about it? See, I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of a punk, so I'm going to think about how much it's going to hurt. That's the first thing I think about. I'm also cheap, so I'm going to think about how much it's going to cost. That's the second thing I think about. Then I'm going to think about what does it say about me? If I put something crazy on my body, then that's what people are going to think I represent. If I put a skull and crossbone on my arm, people are going to think I'm, into death or destruction. If I put mom on this arm, they're going to think I love my mom, right? And these are all permanent markings that will stay with you forever. That's what you're doing online right now. You're leaving your digital tattoo. And what you're not thinking about is that digital tattoo will be used to evaluate you the rest of your life. It will be used to evaluate you for college, for jobs, even for dates. If you have the wrong stuff out there and I find it, do I want you to go out with me? Do I want to invite you into my world? I can find you online. You obviously thought it was okay because you put it out there for the world to see. So that must be who you are, right? Most times people put stuff out there that's not totally who they are. They don't think about who can see it. And then when bad things happen, people get surprised. More and more schools and companies are cracking down on people for the things they say and do online. Imagine you're the high school senior that got expelled for tweeting something inappropriate. Which college is going to rush to give you a scholarship? You got kicked out of high school and now you want to come to my college? No. Imagine you were the one expelled for posting a fight online. What job do I want to give you? Can you think of one? I can't. Because see, you would represent me, my company, and my school. And if online you're shady, then in the real world you may be shady too. So I want to be careful about what I'm putting online, and especially where I put it. I want to remember, and we talked about this last year, there's nothing secret or private about social media. Everything you put online is being saved and being stored. Everything can be retrieved. Everything is now linked to you. When you go online and you talk about your private thoughts and your deepest emotions, when you talk about how you're sad and you're depressed, you're lonely, you're setting yourself up for the wrong people to respond to you. When you go online and you share inappropriate pictures, or something simple as, hey, I'm home alone, that can get you in trouble. That can get you hurt. Can you please stop braiding her hair and pay attention to me? I only have 45 minutes and I drove a real long way through back roads and cornfields to get here. In a storm. I deserve your respect. Thank you. I told you guys, this last year was rough on me. I have met too many kids hurt. I refuse to leave a place where I know kids weren't paying attention and let that happen so that I turn on CNN and I see a kid that I met being molested. I refuse to go to another school where a kid was stored in a box. And all it takes is a few minutes of your life right now and a couple of minutes when you're online to make a better choice that you never have to be one of those victims. When you're on social media, do not tell people where you're going to be and when you're going to be there. Kids always say, well, I use my privacy settings, only my friends can see it. Are you sure you know all those people? Are they really your friends in the real world? You use your privacy settings. Can you guarantee that everybody who you are linked to is using theirs? No. And all it takes is one person in this room right now who takes too many risks and who's too irresponsible online, and I can access every student in this school, which means I can also access every parent who's associated with this school and every teacher. The internet is powerful. It has changed the world for good and for evil. It opens you up to billions of people at any given time, and if you are not careful, you are going to invite trouble. The internet, social media, does not mean secret and private. It connects people. That's why we call it social. It broadcasts information. That's why it's media. And your information you should protect. Because right now, if you have a cell phone or a tablet, you are broadcasting information without even thinking about it. I have apps on my phone. Everybody has apps on their phones, because otherwise, why have these expensive things, right? You need those apps to make them interesting, make a phone worth $150, $200, $300, $400. Have you ever read the terms of service that you agree to on the apps, the games, and the websites you go to? I think last year I might have talked a little bit about this, but this year I want to be more specific. So I'm going to use one of my favorite apps, Dunkin' Donuts. In order to have just the app, that's before I have an account, that's before I make an order, I had to agree to the terms of service on my Dunkin' Donuts app. And I'm going to read to you what my terms of service, at least 5 of them, say that I've agreed to just to have this app on my phone. Number 1, I agree that Dunkin' Donuts can directly call phone numbers. Who does Dunkin' Donuts need to call for me? They don't call me and tell me when my order's ready. So why do they need access to my phone? They don't. That it can send text messages. Who does Dunkin' Donuts need to text for me? It does not text me when my order is ready. I have to tell Dunkin' Donuts when I'm coming to get my order. And it doesn't send me a message saying, okay, your order's ready. It's either there and I get it, or I just don't get it at all. Dunkin' Donuts has permission to take pictures and videos. What does Dunkin' Donuts need to take a picture or video of? I can't think of anything. Right now, Dunkin' Donuts could be taking your picture and your video. How would you feel about that? Dunkin' Donuts has permission to figure out my approximate location based on the network I use and my precise location based on my GPS. So right now, Dunkin' Donuts knows I'm in Rochester, Indiana. And if I turn on my GPS, Dunkin' Donuts knows exactly where I'm standing within 10 feet on the planet. Dunkin' Donuts has permission to read my contacts. So Dunkin' Donuts can be recording a video of you, go through my contact list, and take that picture, that video, and text it to somebody in my contact list. All so that I can get my coffee fast. What kind of apps do you have on your phone? I have a flashlight on here. I like my flashlight. It's really cool. It has a disco ball. I think that's fun. I play with that sometimes. My flashlight has permission to take pictures. It's not part of my camera. It's just a flashlight. When you use social media, when you use apps, when you play games, you are giving away privacy, even when you use your privacy settings. So since you're giving away privacy, shouldn't you be careful about what you put out there? Because remember, the internet's not private. You have no expectation of privacy on the internet. And now you have no expectation of privacy on your own devices. Because the moment you put any apps or games on there, you agree to their terms of service on how they will use your device. So you should be thinking before you post. As people, we have a tendency to overshare. We'll share way too much information. The other day I was at the bank and they were asking me a question, and next thing I know I started telling them about my job and where I was going today. That's not what I needed to do. I just needed to make a deposit, but I was being social. We were talking, and I kind of know these tellers because I go to the same bank all the time. I don't think I shared any information that could be used against me. And to be honest, as we were talking, they're more likely forgot it already because people do that. But the moment I post it online, they can go back and look at it over and over again and figure out some things. You guys do that. Kids do that. You share too much. You take risks. You do challenges. Challenges are fun, right? Everybody's doing some kind of challenge lately. And then you post. Do you think about who can see it and how it's going to impact your future? I want to show you someone who I found online doing a challenge. She doesn't really even have a real challenge. She just wants to do a challenge. In this video, this is what I'd like you to do. The moment you think that she did something that would be dangerous online, I don't want you to hear your mouse. I just want you to give me a thumbs up. The moment you see something she says or does that could be considered dangerous online, I want to see a thumbs up. By the end of her little video, I want to see if everyone has their thumbs up. I don't know who this child is. I found her on YouTube. Her and thousands just like her, making the same mistakes.
Guys, just making a random video because I'm bored. Yeah, okay. I'm taking challenges now, so if you guys would leave me some comments on what you think you'd like me to do, I will try them, you know? Because I'm not bored, I need challenges. So, you can comment down below, or you can kick me. My kick is Sexy Beast Horn 6. Or, that's one of them. I think that one's deactivated, but try the other.
Her mom said, who are you on the phone with?
Try the other one. Harry Styles. Yeah, Harry Austin Styles 1.
There are so many things wrong with this. If when she said her username was Sexy Beast Horn 6, you didn't put your thumb up, you're not paying attention. That is the worst username you could come up with. Imagine this. She's applying for a job, and I need to contact her. You think I'm gonna contact Sexy Beast Horn 6 for a job? Would you? That's crazy. There's another thing wrong with this on her mama's side. Her mom was curious about what she was doing, and instead of opening the door and saying, hey, who you on the phone with, checking on her, doing her job, she yelled through the door. If her mom would have opened the door when she was doing this, you think she might have stopped and thought before she finished this video? Probably. Or her mom could have said, what are you doing? Why are you putting that online? See, it's our parents' job to keep us safe and make us smart. And sometimes we do things to make it hard for them. When it comes to the internet, you can't afford to make those kind of mistakes. Now, her video is GPS tagged. She's in the middle of her bedroom. She just told me she's up for challenges. If I'm a predator, she's ideal victim material. If I'm going to give her a scholarship, I'm not giving her nothing. If I'm going to hire her for a job, that's not who I want to come and work for me. That is a part of her digital legacy, her tattoo. That video has been on YouTube for a while. I don't even have a YouTube subscription. I just did a search and found her and others like her. That's how easy it was for me to decide victim or failure with this one video. One tweet, one post, one comment, one photo, one video can change your life. Are you thinking before you put those out there? This, I think I showed you guys this last year. The Instagram account of one of my coworkers. I complained about how on Instagram we could figure out exactly where she was and how I used this once to find her home. You guys remember that? Yeah. Well, see, after I started using this, showing how easy it was for me to find out about her, Instagram and Snapchat decided to update their information and made it worse. This is now what I would get on someone's Instagram or Snapchat. I'd get a map, not just of when they took a picture, but everybody around them who took a picture. So think about this. You have an Instagram or Snapchat account. You take a picture at school, you tag it, you post it. I'm a predator. I want to target some kids. I come up to this school, I take a picture of the ground in the parking lot, I tag it, and now I can see every tag by everybody who was at this location. And with a click, I can get to your account. I can see your pictures, and I can see your posts, thanks to Instagram and Snapchat. I now can connect to you and never have to know you. All I have to do is tag a picture in the same place you were, and then determine if you're victim material. Depending on if your pictures are normal, typical, boring, I may ignore you. Those pictures of you sunning by the beach, making muscle man in your mirror with your shirt off, doing crazy challenges, exposing too much, I may decide you're worth stalking online to find out if you're a good target. And I did that thanks to the software. And then top it off, there's a lot of third-party apps out there that people don't seem to think about because, they're not named Snapchat or Instagram. But they work with Snapchat or Instagram. My favorite one right now allows me to make a list of usernames of people on Snapchat. And I can set the list with parameters like I want 13 to 15-year-old boys on Snapchat, and it gives me a list of all the usernames. So now I take that username, I do a quick search, and I got all the information I need on a potential victim. I want 13 to 15-year-old girls on Snapchat, I can do the same thing. And now I have a shopping list of who I'm going to stalk, follow, and target for whatever it is I want to do. Cyberbully, no problem. Steal their identity, no problem. Harass them, no problem. Send them inappropriate information, no problem. Steal their photos, no problem. Thanks to these apps. Again, I'm not saying don't use technology, but understand there's risk, and you should use it wisely. You want to put a picture out there? Great. Don't put have your school name on it. Don't tag your school. Don't tag your friends. Because then you give others too much access. Remember, your photos, your videos are geotagged. Embedded in them is all the information I need to find where you are. If your picture is boring, why would I bother to find out where you took it? You and some friends, no biggie. You by the pool, woo! Let me check that one out. Where was that taken? How close is it to a school? I can figure out where they go to school at. I can find them that way. So let's talk about some truths. As I mentioned earlier, our biggest problem is sexting. Sexting for us has become such an epidemic that we are now doing knock and talks. A knock and talk is when we show up at somebody's house to talk to them about being stupid. We are now doing knock and talks on 7 and 8-year-olds. As a matter of fact, a couple of months ago, one of my investigators told me about having to do a knock and talk at a home because on YouTube, like most sites, have to review their site periodically for child pornography. And they found what they considered child pornography and they contacted us. In the video, there was a young man. We could tell he was sitting in his bedroom in his closet because you could see like clothes and hangers behind him. And he had a tablet. With some research, we found out he had a subscription. And that post for that day started with, "Hey guys, today I'm going to show you my penis." And that's what he proceeded to do on YouTube. I didn't think anything of it because we have kids doing that all the time, which is sad. But this kid was 8 years old. Where did he get the idea that I was okay? Where did he get the idea that that was acceptable? I had to go to a school a couple of months ago, before school ended, where a bunch of second graders had taken the tablets that the school gave them for e-learning days and was sneaking into the bathroom taking pictures of each other with their pants down. Why did they think that was okay? Why did they think that was acceptable? So if I got little kids doing this, what makes you think I don't have big kids doing this? I got schools where I go in and the principal hands me a list of every kid that's been in trouble for sexting, and it's like, half a grade or something like that. That's crazy. We have a couple of school districts that the sexting is so bad, there is a ring of child pornographers who target that school because they know it's easy to get pictures, and they sell the pictures they get from these kids because the kids don't think about who can get them to porn sites. That's crazy. No one forced these people to take these pictures and make these bad choices. Can't you think of something else to do? By the way, I said this before, this has nothing to do with love or affection or respect or attraction. That's not what that is. When someone asks you to do that, they are putting your future at risk because you cannot guarantee that that photo will not end up in the wrong hands. I was at a high school not too long ago, and this girl ran out of my talk when I started talking about sexting, crying. I couldn't figure out why. And I found out later that when she was 11 years old, she had sent some inappropriate pictures, and nothing happened. 5 years later, the picture hit the high school, and even the janitor got a copy of it. Because once that photo is out there, it is out there. You can't delete it. Even we can't guarantee that if we scrub the internet and get rid of these images, we got rid of everything. Because all you need is somebody who took a screenshot or downloaded or saved it offline. You can't guarantee it, so you should make better choices. There are consequences from sexting. And more schools and law enforcement agencies are cracking down. I know some schools where once they find children have sexting images, they call Child Protective Services because they consider that to be a child in need of service. And Child Protective Services gets involved. And some schools are even taking more drastic measures.
Probation or deferred sentencing. Now, those are the possible consequences for students at the source of a sexting investigation. That would involve 3 students under the age of 15 at Three Rivers Middle School.
That's right. This case was just turned over to the St. Joseph County Prosecutor's Office. WSBT 22 Suzanne Spencer has the details.
The prosecutor is deciding right now if 3 students should face criminal charges for allegedly taking and distributing nude photos. It happened at Three Rivers Middle School. Police say a boy under 15 took nude pictures of himself on a girl's phone. That girl then sent them to other people. 2 girls and the boy are being considered for criminal charges. This isn't the first time Three Rivers Police has dealt with sexting. In fact, they get about 10 cases a year. Police say parents have an important responsibility.
In this day and age of the social media, it's rooted, and that it leads to, the sexting leads to bullying some kids, they're being fun of. It leads to, the real severe thing, people committing suicide or violent crimes against others because they're so embarrassed about it.
Remember, he said 10 cases. 10 cases are 10 cases that they're actually investigating. He didn't say 10 images. There are thousands and thousands of images floating around of kids online right now. There are thousands and thousands of devices right now with images of kids on them. Remember, I said Dunkin' Donuts has access to my camera. Should I hack you or Dunkin' Donuts? If I hack Dunkin' Donuts, I can get thousands and thousands of people's phones and devices, and I can get into them, and I can find those images. Remember, if the person in the picture is under the age of 18, that's child pornography. You took a picture of yourself, you created child pornography. You sent the picture to a friend, you distributed child pornography. You have that picture on your device, you're in possession of child pornography, and that is against the law. My youngest case, when I worked in juvie, of a kid brought in on charges like this was 11. The judge gave him 2 years of detainment and 10 years registered as a sex offender. The stipulation was if within those 10 years he did absolutely nothing wrong, he can get off of the sex offender registry. So when he got out of juvie, he was 13, 14 years old. What high school can he go to? He's a registered sex offender. By the way, his parents had to move because they live within 100 yards of a school, and he can't be there. What college is going to recruit him when he's a registered sex offender? If you have a certain number of pictures, or if the person you are sending images to is in another state, you just made that a federal offense. Now, I don't know any judges who've given this much time, because this is one picture, by the way, how much time you can get. But I do know a judge who gave a 15-year-old, 2 16-year-olds, and some 17-year-olds 5 years apiece, and he charged them as adults. He said he was fed up. He was going to make an example of them. Do you want to be the next example? We currently have a situation where a 12-year-old girl took some pictures to send to her boyfriend, and she didn't think that she has a Google account. And your Google account automatically uploads to the cloud, and Google found those images. See, it's the responsibility of the websites to report to us when they found child pornography. So Google reported to us. We found images of her and videos from her boyfriend. And now, we are deciding what to do about it. How would your parents feel if we came and did a knock and talk at your house because we found that stuff? You really need to remember it is all about your choices. I knew that was going to happen. Everything you put online can be retrieved, can be discovered, can be found. Are you putting things online that put you in the best light or put you at risk? Are you making good choices about websites and apps? Let's talk about a few that are definitely not safe. I talked to you guys about Kick last time, right?
Yeah.
How many of you still using Kick? Be honest. I see a couple of kind of hands going up. I am not playing when I say Kick is dangerous. The young girl in the box met her predator on Kick. The young girl whose video was posted on CNN met her predator on Kick. If we're looking for predators, we start at Kick. How many of you are using Musical.ly? Did I warn you about Musical.ly last year? Didn't I tell you that your videos on Musical.ly can be retrieved and saved and stored and shared by anyone who can get access to them? Didn't I warn you that Musical.ly videos are GPS tagged and can be searched on the site by city? And recently I figured out how to search by zip code. I think I warned you about that. How many of you are still using Snapchat? Are you careful about what you're putting on Snapchat? I am going to remind you that your websites, your apps, and your games are by law required to report cyber harassment and inappropriate images. And they turn that over to us. So if you are using those things to put out the wrong kind of message, there is always a good chance it'll end up in a predator's hands or ours. How many of you still use anonymous apps? After school, Ask FM, Yik Yak, Whisper, What's Up, anything like that? Anonymous apps give out your location, and in most cases, access your camera. Remember last year when I told you how if I can get access to your camera, I can keep it? If I have access to your camera, it's mine. I can record you with a click. How many of you are doing video chatting with strangers? That's really popular right now. Sites like Monkey and House Party. Yes. You are?
No, on PlayStation.
On PlayStation?
Yeah, video.
Uh-huh. You do remember, and I've said this, when you choose to video chat with strangers, you give out your location and they have access to your camera. Do you remember me saying that? So since you video chat with a stranger, if that person is a safe person, they never will bother you again. But right now, if that was the wrong person, when you're at home, you don't know if they've taken over your camera and recording you in your house. We have cases where kids and their parents found out their bedrooms were being live streamed on porn sites because they went to the wrong site and video chat with the wrong person. You need to make good choices. Because that's all it comes down to. What choices are you making? Think about it. 20 years from now, what you're doing today will be out there. Are you ready to stand up and say, hey, I'm proud of that? That was a good choice? 10 years from now, that stuff will be there when 79% of employers go and look to see if they want to give you a job. Do you have anything online that's going to stop you from getting that job? 8 or 9 years from now, when you go to apply for college, and they need to give you financial aid or a scholarship, they're going to look at your social media tattoo. Are you making good choices? Because that's what it is. It's your choice. I got time for about 5 questions. Any questions? Yes, sir?
Why don't they just shut down the social medias that predators usually go on?
Because it's not the social media app's fault that people use it the wrong way. For instance, there's this app called ChatStep that was designed by a couple of Purdue graduates. It was designed so that companies could telecommunicate freely without having to worry about people being able to record and steal their ideas. So companies use that. So do predators. They use that as a way to communicate with kids. Kids use it as a way to communicate and not have their parents find it. Now, the company was brought up by the Purdue students, is now in the Philippines. It's not a U.S. company. We can't do anything about them. But a good 70% of that site is still being used for business. Only 30% of that site is being used inappropriately. So we should shut down the site because 30% of the people want to be creeps? No. Plus, many of the sites you're using are not in the U.S. It doesn't matter if we try to shut them down. And sometimes they get shut down, they get brought back up, come up a different way. That's not the answer. The answer is you guys making good choices and not making yourself victims. Yes, ma'am.
If there's a predator out there, why don't they just IP ban them?
It's not about IP banning them. Number one, we have to know they're out there. Only 16% of kids who meet people online who are bad will report it. And of that 16%, 70% are girls and 30% are boys. Now, I know there's more boys being targeted because we arrest tons of predators who target boys. But if people don't come forward, there's nothing we can do. And we don't want to IP ban a predator. We want to put them in jail. And we have to have evidence to do it. And sometimes we need witnesses. You in the blue.
I have 2 questions.
One question.
Earlier, when you said that your son uses the website, like put his paintings on something, what's the website?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I'll have to send it to you because I forgot. Because there's like several of them he does. And so far, right now, as of the last year, he's made about $300. Not bad. One more question and I'm out of here. Anybody else? You already had a question. Somebody who didn't have a question? Yes, sir, in the back row. I can't hear you. On Kick, did you say there have been murders because of Kick? Yes. The most recent one that made the news was in Virginia. A young girl was murdered by 2 college students from Virginia Tech. A 19-year-old boy had met this 13-year-old girl on Kick, and they had an online relationship, boyfriend-girlfriend, sending photos back and forth. He was nervous about getting charged with sending inappropriate pictures, so he had her meet him, and they killed her. I guess he thought killing her was better than going to jail for being a child predator. Exactly, stupid much. Currently, I know of at least 7 cases where kids were murdered or physically harmed by people they met on Kick, including our own case here, the girl in the box, and the girl who was molested, live streamed on Facebook. They both met predators on Kick. If we could shut down Kick, we would, but Kick is a Canadian-based company, and in their terms of service, they say you have to be 18 or over to be there. So because kids are there, you are violating their terms of service. It's not their fault, it's yours. And that's how they present it to law enforcement. Thank you, guys.